Have you ever felt there's something more to life, a hidden force you can't quite grasp? Well, you're right. There is an invisible power within you, waiting to be tapped. It's called thought vibration, and it's the key to unlocking the law of attraction in your life. This isn't just some far-out idea. It's a real force that shapes your world every single day. And the best part? You already have it. You just need to learn how to use it. Think about it. Have you ever had a day where everything just seemed to go your way? Or maybe you've experienced the opposite. A day where nothing seemed to work out. What if I told you that you have more control over these experiences than you realize? That's what we're going to explore today. We're going to dive into how you can harness this invisible power to create the life you've always dreamed of. But here's the thing. If you don't learn to use this power, it might be using you instead. Your thoughts are constantly shaping your reality, whether you're aware of it or not. So, are you ready to take control and start creating the life you want? Stick around, because I'm about to show you how. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is this invisible power we're talking about? Well, it's not something you can see or touch, but it's something you can definitely feel and experience. Imagine it like the wind. You can't see the wind itself, but you can see its effects, leaves rustling, flags waving, or even trees bending in a strong gust. Your invisible power works in much the same way. This power is the energy of your thoughts and feelings. It's the force behind your beliefs, your expectations, and your attitudes. Every thought you have sends out a kind of energy into the world around you. And just like the wind can shape the world over time, eroding mountains and carving canyons, your thoughts shape your personal world, influencing the events and experiences of your life. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds a bit far-fetched. How can my thoughts affect anything outside of my own head? Well, let's look at a simple example. Have you ever been in a bad mood, and suddenly it seemed like everyone around you was grumpy too? Or maybe you've had a day where you woke up feeling great, and everything just seemed to go your way. That's your invisible power in action. Your mood, which stems from your thoughts, affects how you interact with the world. When you're in a bad mood, you might be short with people, or you might not notice opportunities around you. This can lead to negative reactions from others and missed chances, which then reinforce your bad mood. On the flip side, when you're feeling positive, you're more likely to be kind to others, to notice good things, and to take advantages of opportunities that come your way. This creates a cycle of positivity that can improve your whole day. But it goes even deeper than that. Your thoughts and beliefs shape your actions, and your actions shape your life. If you believe you're not good at math, you're less likely to try hard in math class or to pursue a career that involves numbers. If you believe you're a talented artist, you're more likely to practice your art and seek out opportunities to showcase your work. Over time, these actions based on your beliefs can lead to very different life outcomes. Understanding this invisible power is crucial because it means you have more control over your life than you might think. You're not just a passive observer of your life. You're an active creator. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, is like a seed you're planting in the garden of your life. And just like a garden, what grows depends on what you plant and how you tend to it. But here's the really exciting part. Once you understand this power, you can start to use it intentionally. Instead of letting your thoughts run on autopilot, potentially creating results you don't want, you can start to choose your thoughts carefully. You can begin to cultivate beliefs and attitudes that will help you create the life you desire. This doesn't mean that external circumstances don't matter, or that you can magically change your life overnight just by thinking differently. The world is complex, and there are many factors that influence our lives. But understanding your invisible power gives you a tool, a very powerful tool, to start shaping your experiences and your future in a more positive direction. So, as we continue to explore this concept, keep in mind that you're learning about a fundamental force in your life. This isn't just a nice idea or a motivational trick. It's a real power that you've been using all along, whether you knew it or not. And now, you're going to learn how to use it consciously and effectively. Now that we understand what invisible power is, let's dive deeper into how it works. The key concept here is thought vibration. Don't worry if that sounds complicated. I'm going to break it down in a way that's easy to understand. Think of your thoughts as energy. Just like light or sound, This energy vibrates at different frequencies. Happy thoughts vibrate at a higher frequency, while sad or angry thoughts vibrate at a lower frequency. These vibrations aren't just confined to your head. They radiate out from you, affecting the world around you. Let's use a simple analogy to make this clearer. Imagine your mind is like a radio tower, constantly broadcasting signals. These signals are your thoughts and feelings. Now, the world around you is like a giant radio receiver, picking up on the signals you're sending out. What you broadcast is what you tend to receive back. For example, if you're constantly thinking worried thoughts, you're broadcasting a frequency of worry. As a result, you're more likely to tune into and notice things in your environment that match that frequency, more things to worry about. On the other hand, if you're broadcasting thoughts of opportunity and possibility, you're more likely to notice and attract opportunities that match that frequency. This doesn't mean that thinking a single positive thought will immediately change your life. Just like a radio signal needs to be strong and consistent to be picked up clearly, your thought vibrations need to be consistent to have a noticeable effect on your life. It's the overall pattern of your thoughts that matters most. Now, you might be wondering, how do my thought vibrations actually affect anything outside of me? Well, there are a few ways this happens. First, your thoughts affect your emotions, which in turn affect your body language, tone of voice, and overall demeanor. These subtle cues influence how others respond to you. If you're radiating confidence and positivity, people are more likely to react positively to you, opening up more opportunities and positive interactions. Secondly, your thoughts shape your perceptions. Have you ever bought a new car and suddenly started seeing that same model everywhere? The cars were always there, but now your mind is tuned to notice them. In the same way, when you hold certain thoughts and beliefs, you become more attuned to noticing things that confirm those thoughts. If you believe opportunities are scarce, you're less likely to notice or act on opportunities when they do appear. If you believe opportunities are abundant, you're more likely to spot them and take action. Lastly, your thoughts influence your actions. If you consistently think you're capable and deserving of success, you're more likely to take actions that lead to success. You might work harder, take more calculated risks, or persist in the face of setbacks. Over time, these actions can lead to real changes in your life circumstances. It's important to note that thought vibrations aren't about wishful thinking or denying reality. You can't simply think your way to $1 million or a perfect relationship. What thought vibrations do is set the stage for positive change. They make you more open to opportunities, more resilient in the face of challenges, and more likely to take positive action. Think of it this way. Your thoughts are like the steering wheel of your life. They don't determine everything that happens to you, but they do have a big influence on the direction you're heading. By understanding and consciously using thought vibrations, you're learning to steer more deliberately towards the life you want. So how can you start using thought vibrations more effectively? It starts with becoming more aware of your thoughts. Pay attention to what you're thinking throughout the day. Are your thoughts mostly positive or negative? Are they focused on what you want or on what you're trying to avoid? Once you're more aware of your thoughts, you can start to shape them more intentionally. This doesn't mean forcing yourself to think positive thoughts all the time. That's not realistic or helpful. Instead, it's about gently guiding your thoughts in a more positive, constructive direction. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, pause and see if you can reframe the thought in a more positive or neutral way. For example, if you find yourself thinking, "I'll never be able to do this," try reframing it as, "This is challenging, but I'm learning and improving." If you catch yourself thinking, "Why do bad things always happen to me?" try shifting to, "What can I learn from this situation?" Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate all negative thoughts. It's to create an overall thought pattern that's more positive and empowering. Over time, as you consistently practice this, you'll start to notice changes in how you feel, how you act, and ultimately, in the results you see in your life. Now that we've explored thought vibrations, let's connect this to a concept you might have heard of before, the law of attraction. Simply put, the law of attraction states that like attracts like. In the context of our thoughts and experiences, this means that the thoughts we focus on tend to attract similar experiences into our lives. The law of attraction isn't some mystical force that magically makes things appear in your life. Rather, it's a principle that describes how our inner world, our thoughts, beliefs, and feelings, influences our outer experiences. It's closely tied to the concept of thought vibrations we just discussed. Here's how it works. When you consistently focus on certain thoughts, you create a vibration that aligns with those thoughts. This vibration affects your emotions, your perceptions, and your actions. As a result, you become more attuned to and more likely to notice things that match your dominant thoughts. You also become more likely to take actions that are in line with these thoughts. Let's look at a real-life example to make this clearer. Imagine two people who are looking for a job. Person A constantly thinks, "There are no good jobs out there. I'll never find something I like." Person B, on the other hand, thinks, "There are opportunities everywhere. I'm going to find a job that's perfect for me." Now, both of these people might look at the same job listings, but because of their different thought patterns, they're likely to have very different experiences. Person A, focused on the lack of good jobs, might quickly scroll past opportunities, finding reasons why each one isn't right. They might approach interviews with a defeatist attitude, unconsciously projecting a lack of confidence or enthusiasm. Person B, however, approaches the job search with optimism. They're more likely to see potential in various listings, maybe even thinking creatively about how they could make a particular job work for them. In interviews, they're likely to project confidence and enthusiasm, making a better impression on potential employers. Over time, Person B is more likely to find a job they're happy with, not because the law of attraction magically created a job for them, but because their thought patterns led them to perceive and act on opportunities more effectively. This principle applies to all areas of life, not just job searching. If you consistently focus on thoughts of health and vitality, you're more likely to notice and take actions that support your health. If you focus on thoughts of scarcity and lack, you're more likely to overlook opportunities for abundance. It's important to understand that the law of attraction isn't about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing where to focus your mental energy. Every situation has positive and negative aspects. The law of attraction suggests that what you consistently focus on will tend to grow in your experience. For example, let's say you're in a relationship that has both good and bad aspects. If you constantly focus on the problems and what you don't like, you're more likely to notice more problems, overlook the good moments, and perhaps act in ways that create more conflict. If, instead, you make a conscious effort to appreciate the good aspects of the relationship, you're more likely to notice more positive moments, feel more positive about the relationship overall, and act in ways that create more harmony. Now, this doesn't mean you should ignore real problems or stay in harmful situations. The law of attraction is about using your thoughts to create a mindset that empowers you to improve your life, not about pretending everything is perfect when it's not. So how can you start using the law of attraction more effectively in your life? Here are a few practical steps. Clarify what you want. Instead of focusing on what you don't want, get clear about what you do want. Be specific and positive in your thinking. Visualize success. Spend time each day visualizing yourself already having or experiencing what you want. Make these visualizations as detailed and emotion-rich as possible. Align your actions. It's not enough to just think about what you want. Take actions that are in line with your desires. The law of attraction works best when your thoughts and actions are aligned. Practice gratitude. Regularly appreciating what you already have puts you in a positive vibration that can attract more good things into your life. Monitor your thoughts. Pay attention to your habitual thought patterns. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, gently guide your thoughts in a more positive direction. Be patient and persistent. Change doesn't happen overnight. Consistently practice these principles and trust in the process. Remember, the law of attraction isn't about magical thinking. It's about creating a mindset that allows you to perceive and act on opportunities more effectively. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts the experiences you desire. As you practice working with thought vibrations and the law of attraction, you'll likely start to notice subtle changes in your life. You might find yourself feeling more positive and optimistic. You might start noticing opportunities you previously overlooked. You might find it easier to connect with others or to persist in the face of challenges. These small changes can add up over time, leading to significant improvements in your life. But it all starts with your thoughts. By understanding and consciously using the power of your thoughts, you're taking a crucial step towards creating the life you truly desire. Have you ever stopped to consider how your thoughts might be influencing your everyday experiences? It's a powerful concept to grasp, and once you do, it can change everything. Your thoughts are like the architects of your life, constantly drawing up blueprints for your experiences. Let's dive deeper into how this works. Every thought you have is like a seed planted in the garden of your mind. Some thoughts are fleeting, like seeds that don't take root. But the thoughts you focus on, especially those you think repeatedly, are like seeds that get watered and nurtured. These are the ones that grow and eventually bear fruit in your life. For example, if you constantly think, "I'm not good enough," this thought begins to shape your actions and decisions. You might hesitate to apply for that dream job, thinking you won't get it anyway. You might settle for less in relationships, believing you don't deserve better. Over time, these actions, stemming from your thoughts, create a reality that reflects your belief of not being good enough. On the flip side, if you regularly think, "I am capable and deserving of good things," you're more likely to take positive actions. You might apply for that job with confidence, put effort into self-improvement, or seek out healthy relationships. These actions, over time, create a reality that aligns with your positive self-image. It's important to understand that this isn't about positive thinking magically changing your external circumstances. Rather, it's about how your thoughts influence your perceptions, decisions, and actions, which in turn shape your experiences and ultimately, your reality. Let's look at another example. Imagine two people starting a new job. Person A thinks, "This job is going to be tough. I'll probably struggle to fit in." Person B thinks, "This job is going to be an exciting challenge. I'm going to learn a lot and meet interesting people." Both might face the same challenges in their new role, but their experiences are likely to be very different. Person A, expecting difficulties, might interpret constructive feedback as criticism, see social interactions as awkward, and view new tasks as overwhelming hurdles. Their negative expectations could lead to defensive behavior, reluctance to ask for help, and increased stress, potentially creating the very struggles they anticipated. Person B, on the other hand, with their positive outlook, might see constructive feedback as valuable learning opportunities, approach social interactions with openness, and view new tasks as chances to grow. Their positive expectations could lead to proactive behavior, willingness to seek support, and enthusiasm that others respond well to, potentially creating a smoother and more enjoyable work experience. This doesn't mean that positive thoughts guarantee a perfect life, or that negative thoughts doom you to failure. Life is complex, and many factors influence our experiences. However, our thoughts play a significant role in how we perceive and respond to what happens to us, which in turn influences what happens next. Understanding this connection between thoughts and reality is empowering because it means you have more control over your life experiences than you might have realized. By becoming aware of your thought patterns and actively choosing more positive and empowering thoughts, you can start to shape your reality in a more deliberate way. But remember, changing your thought patterns isn't about forcing yourself to be positive all the time or denying real problems. It's about cultivating a balanced, realistic optimism. It's about choosing thoughts that empower you to face challenges and create the life you want, rather than thoughts that hold you back. As you go through your day, start paying attention to your thoughts. Notice how they make you feel and how they influence your actions. When you catch yourself in negative thought patterns, gently guide your mind to more constructive thoughts. Over time, this practice can lead to significant shifts in your experiences and your reality. As we've explored the concept of invisible power and how our thoughts shape our reality, you might be eager to put these ideas into practice. However, there are some common pitfalls that people often fall into when trying to harness this power. Let's take a look at these mistakes and how to avoid them. The first common mistake is expecting instant results. Many people, when they first learn about the power of thoughts and the law of attraction, expect their lives to change overnight. They might spend a day thinking positive thoughts, and then feel disappointed when their circumstances don't immediately improve. This is like planting a seed and expecting a full-grown tree the next day. The reality is that changing your thought patterns and, consequently, your life circumstances takes time and consistent effort. Just as it takes time for a plant to grow from a seed, it takes time for new thought patterns to take root and manifest changes in your life. The key is to be patient and persistent. Keep cultivating positive thoughts and taking aligned actions, trusting that change will come with time. Another mistake is relying solely on positive thinking without taking action. Some people misunderstand the power of thoughts to mean that if they just think positively enough, everything they want will magically appear in their lives. They might sit on their couch visualizing their dream job, but never actually send out any applications. While positive thinking is crucial, it's most powerful when combined with aligned action. Your thoughts should inspire and guide your actions, not replace them. If you want a better job, combine your positive thoughts about new opportunities with actual steps like updating your resume, networking, and applying for positions. The power of positive thinking comes alive when it motivates you to take steps towards your goals. A third common mistake is ignoring negative emotions or trying to suppress them. In an attempt to stay positive, some people try to push away any negative feelings, thinking that acknowledging them will attract more negativity. However, this approach often backfires, leading to increased stress and emotional turmoil. It's important to remember that all emotions, including negative ones, serve a purpose. They provide valuable information about our experiences and needs. The goal isn't to eliminate negative emotions, but to process them in a healthy way and then return to a more positive state. When you feel negative emotions, acknowledge them, understand where they're coming from, and then choose thoughts that help you move forward constructively. For example, if you're feeling frustrated about a setback at work, don't try to ignore the feeling. Instead, acknowledge your frustration, understand why you're feeling that way, and then choose thoughts that empower you to address the situation. You might think, "This is challenging, but I've overcome difficulties before. What can I learn from this to do better next time?" Another mistake is becoming too rigid or dogmatic about positive thinking. Some people become so focused on maintaining positive thoughts that they start to judge themselves harshly for any negative thoughts that crop up. This can lead to a kind of thought policing that actually creates more stress and negative emotions. Remember, the goal is not to never have a negative thought. That's not realistic or even desirable. Negative thoughts can sometimes alert us to real problems that need addressing. The aim is to create an overall pattern of thinking that's more positive and constructive, while still allowing space for the full range of human emotions and thoughts. Lastly, a common pitfall is using positive thinking as a form of avoidance. Some people use the idea of staying positive as an excuse to avoid dealing with real problems or difficult situations. They might ignore red flags in a relationship or refuse to address financial difficulties, thinking that focusing on these problems will attract more negativity. However, truly harnessing your invisible power means facing challenges head-on with a positive, problem-solving attitude. It means acknowledging the reality of your situation while maintaining the belief that you have the power to improve things. Instead of ignoring problems, approach them with thoughts like, "This is a challenge, but I have the creativity and resources to find a solution." By avoiding these common mistakes, you can more effectively harness your invisible power. Remember, working with the power of your thoughts is a skill that develops over time. Be patient with yourself as you learn. Celebrate small victories and keep practicing. With time and consistent effort, you'll get better at using your thoughts to create the reality you desire. Now that we've explored what invisible power is, how it works, and some common mistakes to avoid, let's dive into some practical steps you can take to start harnessing this power in your everyday life. Remember, these are skills that develop over time, so be patient with yourself and consistent in your practice. The first step is to become more aware of your thoughts. Many of us go through our days on autopilot, barely noticing the constant stream of thoughts running through our minds. To harness your invisible power, you need to start paying attention to these thoughts. Set aside some time each day, even just a few minutes, to quietly observe your thoughts. What kind of thoughts do you tend to have? Are they mostly positive or negative? What themes or patterns do you notice? You might find it helpful to keep a thought journal. At various points throughout the day, jot down what you've been thinking about. This can help you start to see patterns in your thinking that you might not have noticed before. Don't judge your thoughts as you do this, just observe them. Once you've become more aware of your thoughts, the next step is to start actively choosing more positive and empowering thoughts. This doesn't mean forcing yourself to think positively all the time. Instead, it's about gently guiding your mind towards more constructive thought patterns. When you notice a negative thought, pause and ask yourself, is this thought helping me or holding me back? Is there a more positive way I could look at this situation? For example, if you find yourself thinking, I'll never be able to do this, you might reframe it as, this is challenging, but I'm learning and improving with every attempt. A powerful technique for cultivating more positive thoughts is gratitude practice. Each day, take a few moments to think about things you're grateful for. These can be big things like your health or your relationships, or small things like a delicious cup of coffee or a beautiful sunset. Focusing on gratitude helps shift your mind towards more positive thought patterns, which can attract more positive experiences into your life. Another important step is to clarify your goals and desires. What do you really want in your life? Take some time to think deeply about this. Write down your goals and aspirations. Be as specific as possible. Instead of just, I want to be successful, define what success looks like to you. Is it a particular job? A certain lifestyle? A specific achievement? Once you've clarified your goals, create a clear mental image of yourself having already achieved these goals. Visualize it in as much detail as possible. How do you feel? What does your day look like? What kind of person have you become? Spend time each day immersing yourself in this visualization. This helps align your thoughts and emotions with your goals, making you more likely to notice and act on opportunities that can help you achieve them. While you're working on your thought patterns, it's crucial to also take aligned action. Remember, your invisible power works best when your thoughts and actions are in harmony. Look for small, concrete steps you can take towards your goals. If your goal is to start a business, your action might be to research business plans or reach out to a mentor. If your goal is to improve your health, your action might be to go for a walk or prepare a nutritious meal. As you take these actions, pay attention to how you talk to yourself. Your self-talk is a powerful form of thought that greatly influences your experiences. Encourage yourself like you would a good friend. When you face setbacks, instead of harsh self-criticism, use kind and constructive self-talk. I can learn from this and do better next time is much more empowering than I'm such a failure. Another practical step is to surround yourself with positivity. The people and environments we spend time with greatly influence our thoughts. Seek out relationships with positive, supportive people. Consume media that inspires and uplifts you. Create a living or working space that makes you feel good. These external factors can help reinforce your positive thought patterns. Lastly, make a commitment to consistently practice these steps. Harnessing your invisible power is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. There will be days when it feels challenging, and that's okay. The key is to keep coming back to these practices, even if you've had a setback. Start with small, achievable goals. Maybe you commit to 5 minutes of visualization each morning, or to writing down 3 things you're grateful for each night. As these practices become habits, you can gradually expand them. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every time you choose a more positive thought, every time you take action aligned with your goals, you're harnessing your invisible power. Over time, these small steps can lead to significant changes in your life. As you practice these steps, stay open and attentive to the changes that begin to occur in your life. You might start to notice more opportunities coming your way. You might find yourself feeling more positive and resilient in the face of challenges. You might see your relationships improving or your progress towards your goals accelerating. Celebrate these changes, no matter how small they might seem at first. Each positive shift is a sign that you're successfully harnessing your invisible power. Let these successes motivate you to keep practicing and growing. Remember, you have more power than you realize to shape your experiences and your reality. By becoming more conscious of your thoughts and consistently choosing ones that empower you, you're tapping into a profound force for positive change in your life. It takes time and practice, but the potential rewards are immense. You have the power to create a life filled with more joy, success, and fulfillment. It all starts with harnessing the invisible power of your thoughts. As you begin to work with your invisible power, you'll likely encounter moments of doubt and negativity. This is completely normal and part of the process. The key is learning how to navigate these challenges effectively. Doubt is often the first obstacle people face when trying to harness their invisible power. You might find yourself thinking, is this really going to work? Or am I just fooling myself? These doubts are your mind's way of grappling with new ideas that challenge your existing beliefs. The first step in dealing with doubt is to acknowledge it. Don't try to push it away or pretend it doesn't exist. Instead, recognize that doubt is a natural part of any growth process. Then, gently remind yourself of why you're exploring this concept in the first place. What drew you to it? What potential benefits do you see? It can be helpful to think of doubt not as an enemy, but as a signpost. It often points to areas where you need more understanding or experience. If you're doubting whether your thoughts really influence your reality, for example, this might be a cue to learn more about the science behind thought patterns and their effects on behavior and perception. Another powerful way to overcome doubt is through small experiments. Instead of trying to completely overhaul your thinking all at once, start with something small. Maybe you set an intention for a good day and then pay attention to how your day unfolds. Or you could practice visualizing a small, achievable goal and see what happens when you combine this with action. These small successes can build your confidence and reduce doubt over time. Negativity is another common challenge. Even as you try to cultivate more positive thoughts, you might find negative thoughts creeping in. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate all negative thoughts. That's not realistic or even desirable. Instead, it's about learning to manage negativity effectively. One technique for dealing with negative thoughts is the observe and release method. When you notice a negative thought, don't fight it or judge yourself for having it. Simply observe it, like you're watching a cloud pass across the sky. Acknowledge its presence, then gently let it go, replacing it with a more constructive thought. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, "I'll never be able to change my life," you might observe this thought, then replace it with something like, "Change takes time, but I'm making progress every day." This approach helps you avoid getting caught up in negative thought spirals. Another powerful tool for overcoming negativity is practicing self-compassion. Often, we're our own harshest critics. Learning to treat yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a good friend can make a huge difference. When you make a mistake or face a setback, instead of berating yourself, try offering yourself words of encouragement and support. It's also important to remember that setbacks and challenges are a normal part of life. They don't mean you're failing at harnessing your invisible power. In fact, these moments often provide the greatest opportunities for growth and learning. When you face difficulties, try to view them as chances to practice using your invisible power in real-world situations. Persistence is key when dealing with doubts and negativity. It takes time to rewire long-standing thought patterns. Be patient with yourself and celebrate small victories along the way. Every time you choose a more positive thought or overcome a moment of doubt, you're strengthening your ability to harness your invisible power. Sometimes, the best way to understand the power of a concept is to see how it's worked in other people's lives. Let's look at a couple of real-life examples of people who've successfully harnessed their invisible power to create positive changes in their lives. First, let's consider Sarah's story. Sarah had always dreamed of starting her own business, but for years, she held herself back with negative thoughts. "I'm not smart enough," she'd tell herself. "I don't have the right experience. What if I fail?" These thoughts kept Sarah stuck in a job she didn't love, afraid to take the leap into entrepreneurship. But one day, Sarah learned about the concept of invisible power and decided to give it a try. She started by becoming more aware of her negative self-talk and consciously replacing these thoughts with more positive ones. Instead of, "I'm not smart enough," Sarah started telling herself, "I'm capable of learning whatever I need to know." Rather than, "What if I fail?" she began asking herself, "What if I succeed?" She visualized herself as a successful business owner, feeling confident and fulfilled. As Sarah's thought patterns shifted, she noticed she felt more confident taking small steps towards her goal. She started researching business ideas in her spare time. She reached out to other entrepreneurs for advice. She even started setting aside a small amount of money each month for her future business. Over time, these small actions, fueled by her new, more positive thought patterns, led to bigger steps. Sarah developed a solid business plan, secured some initial funding, and eventually took the leap to start her own company. Today, Sarah runs a successful small business. She often reflects on how changing her thoughts was the first crucial step in changing her reality. Now, let's look at Michael's story. Michael had always struggled with his health and weight. He tried countless diets and exercise programs, but always gave up after a few weeks, telling himself, "I just don't have the willpower. I'll always be overweight." When Michael learned about harnessing his invisible power, he realized how his negative thoughts were holding him back. He decided to change his inner dialogue. Instead of focusing on what he couldn't do, he started focusing on what he could do. He began telling himself, "I'm capable of making healthy choices, and every small step counts." He visualized himself as a fit, healthy person and thought about how good that would feel. Michael also started practicing gratitude, appreciating his body for what it could do rather than criticizing it for how it looked. As Michael's thoughts became more positive, he found it easier to make healthier choices. He started by taking short walks, telling himself, "I enjoy moving my body." He began experimenting with nutritious recipes, thinking, "I love nourishing myself with good food." Over time, these small changes added up. Michael found himself naturally wanting to move more and eat better. He no longer saw it as a chore, but as something he genuinely enjoyed. Within a year, Michael had lost significant weight and, more importantly, had developed a much healthier relationship with his body and with food. Both Sarah and Michael's stories illustrate how harnessing your invisible power can lead to real, tangible changes in your life. They show that while changing your thoughts isn't a magic solution that instantly transforms your life, it can be the catalyst that sets positive change in motion. These stories also highlight the importance of patience and persistence. Both Sarah and Michael faced doubts and setbacks along the way, but by consistently choosing more positive and empowering thoughts, they were able to overcome these challenges and create lasting changes in their lives. Remember, everyone's journey is unique. Your story of harnessing your invisible power will be your own. The key is to start where you are, with what you have, and to keep moving forward one thought at a time. As we wrap up our exploration of invisible power, let's take a moment to reflect on the incredible journey we've undertaken. We've delved into the profound impact our thoughts have on shaping our reality, uncovered the mechanics of thought vibration and the law of attraction, and learned practical steps to harness this innate power within us. Remember, the invisible power we've discussed isn't some mystical force outside of you. It's a natural part of who you are, something you've been using all along, perhaps without realizing it. By becoming more conscious of this power, you're taking control of a force that can significantly influence your life experiences. We've learned that our thoughts are like seeds we plant in the garden of our lives. The thoughts we nurture and focus on are the ones that grow and bear fruit in our reality. This understanding gives us a tremendous opportunity and responsibility to cultivate thoughts that support the life we want to create. We've also seen how this isn't about forced positivity or denying life's challenges. It's about developing a balanced, realistic optimism that empowers us to face difficulties head-on while maintaining faith in our ability to overcome them. It's about choosing thoughts that propel us forward rather than hold us back. Through the practical steps we've discussed, from becoming more aware of our thoughts to visualizing our goals, from practicing gratitude to taking aligned action, we've equipped ourselves with tools to actively harness our invisible power. And through the real-life success stories, we've seen how these principles can lead to tangible, positive changes in people's lives. As you move forward from here, remember that harnessing your invisible power is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, moments of doubt and bursts of inspiration. Embrace it all as part of the process. Every time you choose a more positive thought, every time you align your actions with your aspirations, you're growing stronger in your ability to shape your reality. Start small. Choose one area of your life where you'd like to see positive change. Begin applying the principles we've discussed. Pay attention to your thoughts about this area. Visualize the outcome you desire. Take small, consistent actions aligned with your goal. Be patient and persistent, knowing that change often happens gradually. Most importantly, be kind to yourself along the way. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it might seem. Learn from setbacks without judging yourself harshly. Remember, you're not just working towards external goals. You're also developing a more positive, empowering relationship with yourself. As you continue on this journey, stay curious and open-minded. There's always more to learn about the power of our thoughts and how we can use them to create positive change in our lives and in the world around us. Keep exploring, keep growing, and keep believing in the incredible power within you. You have within you an invisible power, the power to shape your experiences, to overcome challenges, to create a life filled with more joy, success, and fulfillment. It all begins with a single thought. So, what thought will you choose to nurture today? The power is in your hands. Use it wisely, use it often, and watch as your life transforms in beautiful and unexpected ways. Remember, you are the author of your life story. With every thought, you're writing the next chapter. Make it a story you love living. Your invisible power is waiting. It's time to harness it and create the life you've always dreamed of. The journey starts now with this very thought. What will you create?